Hello watch lovers, today I've got my mitts on some watches that I really love. These are watches that I would actually go out and buy right now using my own real money, but just circumstantially that's not possible, unfortunately. Anyway, we've got modern icons, old favourites, instant classics and more incredibly cool watches from 10 of the best luxury brands. So join me as I talk about 10 of the best watches on the market right now, at least in my honest opinion, of course. Let's get into it. Starting with this, the watch with a bidirectional bezel festooned with warm hues reminiscent of the golden age of air travel and the answer to your jet-setting prayers, born to dare. That's right, it's 2024's Tudor Black Bay 58 GMT. Now this is the first Tudor to get me gaga. I've never been gaga over a Tudor before, but the combination of Coca-Cola-ness with goldness is a real winner for me. The gold on black feels luxurious, but not ostentatious, just like John Player Special, and the deep red complements it beautifully, adding just the right amount of pep. Lovely. And all of that while still in keeping with the Tudor vibe of functional tool watches. It pops off the wrist too, while still feeling tastefully subtle, and the 39mm diameter case should sit comfortably on most wrists. And in addition, there's a very impressive, tested to the high hills of Switzerland, METAS certified caliber MT5450U. This is a GMT watch with stunning style and an in-house movement. It's the whole package, and you can grab one for under £4,000. Next, we have the 2023 reinterpretation of Tag Heuer's famous Carrera. And this new model, like its legendary friend, the Tag Heuer Monaco, is immediately recognisable. You've got the domed glass box crystal that flows seamlessly around the edge of the dial with a tachymeter scale on a curved flange that matches those flowing lines of the crystal. It's a design-led approach that really works. It's stunning. The deep velvety richness to the appearance and the smoothness of the domed glass is just so tactile and edible, quite frankly, sort of like a glazed donut. The dial comes in a rich smoky blue and there's retro mushroom style pushers and crisp tapering lugs. The case is ergonomic and measures 39mm in diameter. And the movement inside isn't half bad either. Round the back you can see the in-house automatic caliber TH2000, an evolved version of the Heuer 02. This is just nailing elegance and it's got technical excellence up the yin-yang. I think this is by far my favourite thing Tag Heuer has ever done, even better than that Mario Kart watch. It costs £5,900 RRP, but you can pick one up pre-owned for over £1,000 less than retail. So the colour green was having a bit of a moment in the watch industry recently, and Breitling did something a little bit cool and different with it, with this very tasteful pistachio green dial for the Premier B09 chronograph. And then they paired it with this gold brown strap, and the watch exudes an effortlessly cool kind of warmth, like vinyl. Now, in my experience, the higher the quality of the watch, the easier it is to photograph. And one thing about this Breitling that really took me by surprise was how great the Arabic numerals look. They catch the light and reflect it back in a very pleasing gradient, and they just look amazing from any angle. And there's some really great vintagey touches too, like the syringe hands and the little eyelet on the end of the second hand, the Art Deco style grooves on the side of the case, and the boxy crystal. And it feels simultaneously modern and timeless. So Breitling are known for being bulky big boys, but at 40mm this is one elegantly wearable mother. Inside is the manually wound COSC certified Breitling manufacture caliber B09, which is definitely worthy of staring at all day long. And this one costs around £7,000 new, but you can grab one for around £5,000 pre-owned. Now this here is a doozy. From the Japanese Seasons collection, this is the Grand Seiko Heritage SBGA 413 Shunbun Spring Cherry Blossom Spring Drive. Now, I don't use the term holy guacamole lightly, but this watch might just be my holy guacamole grail piece. So the star attraction, as with many a Grand Seiko, is the nature-inspired dial. here depicting flower rafts, where during the magical time in Japan, the spring sakura cherry blossom petals cover the surface of a river. Absolute scenes, obviously, and they're just begging to be represented on a watch dial, and here it is. The dial surface subtly shimmers in the light and the colour wanes in and out, sometimes looking richly pink, other times almost white. It's rather splendid. Other lovely stuff on the watch includes the hour and minute hands that are so crisp, the mirror polished edges are impeccable, and how they reflect the perfect glide of the second hand is really satisfying. I actually appreciate the texture and feel of the titanium case and bracelet. I know the lightweight nature of titanium can be a little jarring for some people, but the lightness just makes it more comfortable for me. And then inside is the exquisite spring drive movement, the Caliber 9R65. Grand Seiko's unique movement that combines a mechanical movement with a quartz system to create that perfectly smooth sweeping second hand. Exquisite. This watch is £6,300 new, but pre-owned you can find it for £4,750. Next is the Omega Seamaster Diver 300 meters from the 2023 Summer Blue series, where all the watches from the Seamaster lineup got treated with layers of a summer blue coloration based on their depth rating. So this Diver 300M gets a healthy coat of summer blue to reflect its 300 meter water resistance, which results in a really striking gradient finish. You get rhodium plated skeleton hands and the famous laser engraved wave pattern on the dial, and the raised indexes are all filled with a unique light blue superluminova, and so they have this really cool cyan colour that is also matched on the diving scale numerals of the ceramic bezel, so even in the daylight they kind of look like they're glowing. It's very nice. Now, I've been a long admirer of the Seamaster 300, and I'm really digging the freshness of this new version. It's so crisp, and it feels more energised than the traditional navy blue of the classic Seamaster. I was wearing this watch with a light blue shirt, and a guy actually gave me finger guns and went, "Ay," and this was in rural England. It's 42mm in diameter, and it feels great on the rubber strap. And to honour the original 1993 model on which this is based, and its association with James Bond, the case back depicts Pierce Brosnan arriving at the Oscars to collect his Best Supporting Actor gong for GoldenEye. It's an odd choice, but I think it really works well with this watch. On second thought, it's probably just a trident-bearing Poseidon and 2 seahorses. Either way, this watch costs £5,600 at retail, but you can grab it for a couple of £100 cheaper pre-owned. Now we have the Cartier Santos. The watch, famous for being the first pilot's watch, originally made for Brazilian pilot gadabout Alberto Santos Dumont, and it was also the first wristwatch made for men, so numero uno pour homme, dankeschön. But more importantly than all those things, it's a Cartier. And there's something strikingly unique about a Cartier watch. With its distinctive shape and style, there's just a recognisable prestige to it. With the rounded square case with screwed on bezel, the Roman numerals and the blue cabochon on the crown. It's just high class, like only a Cartier can be. That said, it's still pretty sporty. It's got a self-winding mechanical movement, it's got 100 meters of water resistance, and the bracelet is fitted with the quick switch system for quick swapping of the bracelet. Very handy. And you can take your pick from medium or large and have at it. I'm loving the medium size of 35.1mm. I could easily wear this every day as an everyday watch, any day of the week. They cost £6,750, but pre-owned you can grab one for around £1,000 less. On to Rolex next, and I'm going to keep it real. Well, as real as you can with a Rolex anyway. This is the Explorer 36 reference 124270, created following the historic ascent of Everest in 1953. And the Explorer today is still pretty faithful to those tool watch roots. Robust and legible with a very clean, unfussy look. It's got a smooth bezel, simple case, and the distinctive Rolex rectangular indexes and the big 3, 6 and 9 numerals. And the only flourish really is the hour hand resembling the Mercedes logo. And in the 36mm size it feels subtle and smart. Now Rolex is very divisive these days, but this watch is hard to argue with. I mean, you could argue it's boring, but that's kind of why I like it. It's a Rolex. but it's boring. And if I've done the maths correctly, that evens out to being pretty cool. It comes with all the proprietary Rolex gubbins like the Oyster case in the exclusive Rolex alloy Oyster steel. You get the Oyster lock folding clasp with easy Oyster comfort extension. The Oyster links are screwed together with special Oyster coil screws, and the bracelet is affixed to the case with springy Oyster battens. And the whole thing costs 6,300 clams. Now, you can't go wrong with a classic blue diver's watch. And there's a lot of them out there, but for me, there's none so stunning as this. SeaQ Panorama date from Glasshütte Original. Now, Glasshütte Original, as you may have guessed, are a German watch brand. And like all German watch brands, they're a little bit outside the mainstream, but also like all German watch brands, they create incredible watches. And this is a beautifully crafted watch. The dial is intense in a rich galvanic blue sunburst with big chunky applied numerals and an oversized date window, all underneath a heavily domed sapphire crystal which awesomely distorts the view of the dial at the edges. The bezel is ceramic in the same brilliant blue, and the case features satin brushing on all the sides with highly polished edges. It's chunky at 43.2mm in diameter, but it's not imposing. It is very eye-catching though, thanks to the fine German craftsmanship, and the dial is vivid and clear, even from a distance. And then round the back, that German quality just doesn't quit with the manufacturing movement, the caliber 3613. With its skeletonized rotor and 21 karat gold oscillation weight. And it's immaculately finished throughout. It's £11,600, but you can save a wedge and buy one pre-owned for about £8,000. Now, if you want a bit of timeless style in your wristwatch, then Jaeger-LeCoultre's Master Control Collection is where it's at. And this chronograph calendar is the epitome of fine watchmaking, pure and simple. In a 40mm classic round case with a silver sunray dial. There's a running second subdial, a 30-minute chronograph counter, and a subdial date with moon phase indicator, as well as a day-month indicator, and there's also a pulsometric scale running around the outer edge. It's a lot of information to cram onto the dial, but JLC manages it while still making the watch feel restrained and understated. The watch feels complicated and relaxed at the same time. JLC are just the masters of refinement. There's pops of red and blue against the silver grey of the dial as well, and a polished sloping bezel and dynamically curved lugs. And then powering the watch is the caliber 759, made entirely in-house and finished to perfection. It's just perfection all the way around. These cost about £16,000 new, but you can find them at around £10,000 pre-owned. Finally, we have Zenith. Now, Zenith are a brand for people that love watches. If you see someone wearing a Zenith, it means they're a true watch enthusiast, a proper watch nut. Because it's unlikely that they just stumbled upon it and bought it because they liked the colour or whatever. That said, what really grabs me about this Zenith Chronomaster is the tricolour theme. The three chronograph subdials are big and bold, and with a flashy red chronograph hand, the main display feels really crisp. The watch is a compact 38mm with a slender bezel, and it feels bright and clear and has great presence on the wrist. It's powered by the El Primero Caliber 400, the automatic chronograph movement with the high frequency beat of 3,600 vibrations per hour that equates to 10 beats a second, so you get a nice smooth sweep of that red chronograph hand around the dial. This particular model is discontinued, but you can pick one up pre-owned for around £6,000. Not bad for a truly iconic watch. So there you go, those were 10 of the best watches out there right now, according to me. And you can find these and more amazing watches over at watchfinder.com. So if you're looking for your next pre-owned luxury watch, why not check it out, and I'll catch you next time. Goodbye.